everyone, welcome to my show and tell presentation. Today I'm going to be talking about the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack. First up, just a little bit about the facts of the problem. So Colonial Pipeline is a company that operates a 5,500 mile pipeline that supplies approximately 45% of all fuel to the East Coast. On May 7th, 2021, a ransomware group known as DarkSide did gain unauthorized access to their IT network. They did steal a lot of internal files, such as contracts, financial records, HR data, obviously things you don't want out there. They didn't want to do anything with these files, but they wanted payment for them in exchange for a decryption key and a promise not to leak, obviously, that stolen data. In response to this, Colonial Pipeline shut down their entire network. So they were nervous that it would move laterally into their operational systems and outside of the IT, and they didn't want them to gain access into the physical pipeline. It would have been kind of not worth it to keep the pipeline running because their IT controlled their fuel distribution, their scheduling, and their billing. So they wouldn't have been able to even charge clients for that fuel. When Colonial Pipeline did shut down their system, all of a sudden there was a lot of fuel shortages in the East. This is a system safety problem because the pipeline operation was heavily dependent on centralized IT systems, and there was not a lot of failover mechanisms. They had low identity verification, they were not prepared for a cyber attack, and this is an example of how important it is for a system to not fail when it's critical infrastructure. So next up, I just want to show a picture of the span of the pipeline. I think this is better because it really helps understand how important this infrastructure was to the fuel supply. Next, we're going to talk about the potential impact in business terms of this failure. So Colonial Pipeline did end up paying DarkSide $4.4 million in Bitcoin for a decryption key. A month later, the U.S. Department of Justice did recover $2.3 million of that through their efforts of tracking Bitcoin. So they did still lose a lot of money, but they were able to recover some of it. However, once they did receive that decryption key, restoring systems took 6 days. This means there were 6 days without fuel distribution, so there was a loss of revenue there. Obviously, you're always going to have a reputational damage when something like this happens, and some Americans criticize the company for not having a better cybersecurity system in place. Another thing I noticed is that insurance costs or difficulties in obtaining future cyber insurance coverage. They're a higher risk client, so this incident did increase cyber insurance rates for the entire energy sector along with this business. What was the potential impact in human terms? The shutdown of Colonial Pipeline, which, as I said before, supplies 45% of the East Coast fuel, did trigger widespread panic. Some gas stations ended up running out of gas, and there was an increase in gas prices that did affect transportation costs. There was pictures that came out at this time of lines and lines of cars waiting to get into gas stations due to that widespread panic. There was an increased concern over national security. This attack really showed vulnerabilities in critical infrastructure to cyber threats. Another thing that happened was employees were uncertain whether the attack would compromise personal data, and operational staff did have to manage the process of returning systems online without causing further safety incidents in the pipeline network, which I'm sure was a lot of stress. Some system safety intervention solutions and recommendations. So first, stronger network monitoring. Records indicated that Colonial Pipeline did not implement multi-factor authentication on all remote access accounts, which is believed to be what happened and why this problem occurred. I think that they should have implemented advanced security information and event management solutions, and it would have offered real-time alerts for any unknown activity. There also could have been comprehensive testing to find and fix vulnerabilities before attackers exploited them. Before this accident, they did not have any ongoing audits to ensure compliance with emerging federal guidelines for critical infrastructure, which is another reason I believe there was a system safety failure. Another intervention I believe could have helped the system is increased cybersecurity training. Regular simulation exercises would have helped staff detect and respond to cyber threats more effectively. There could have been stricter security measures. So even if DarkSide had breached one segment of the pipeline, they shouldn't have free access to the entire IT system. What I think also would have really helped, and what I recommend them doing now, is maintaining offline encrypted backup that can be restored quickly without a decryption key. And then following this event, something that they implemented that was the Transportation Security Administration did mandate new pipeline security measures to strengthen cybersecurity protection. So some things they mandated was reporting cyber incidents to the federal government. They required operators to conduct cybersecurity assessments, and then they did require ongoing audits. So just a wrap up of this incident did occur due to a lack of network segmentation, a weak authentication mechanism, and no immediate failover system. And even though Colonial Pipeline was a big case, ransomware groups are still active, so strong cybersecurity measures like better network segmentation, threat monitoring, and backups are important, looking forward to the future as it becomes more common. Here are my references. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you. Have a good day.